Okay, so this is the Yiska and Mato vignette for session 16. It's been about an hour, maybe 2 hours, since they unceremoniously dumped Mato back into his cell, onto his cot, his face towards the wall, his body kind of haphazard, one hand kind of hanging off the edge. You can't smell any blood. There's no sign of physical injury, but you know there doesn't really have to be. Takalis gave you all the knowledge he could and has been sort of sitting back in his own head for a little bit. And you have been sitting alone in your own mind. But now there's the first sounds of Mato beginning to stir out of his sleep.
Yiska's been sitting and waiting, just listening to the sound of the other man's breathing for a while, afraid to reach through and try to wake him, but really torn about doing so. So when Mato does start to stir, Yiska gets up and goes over to the bars and reaches through, like to put a hand on him as he wakes up.
As consciousness begins to come back to Mattel, he's still wrestling with the feeling of feeling unclean. Like there are hands, fingers right under his skin, still raking at the core of his being. And so when he feels an actual hand reach out to touch him, he startles a bit, pulls himself away, and he doesn't quite turn to face Yiska yet. As his eyes startle open, he takes in that he's back in his cell. He is here, he is present, but something feels different, wrong. He feels deeply and wholly unclean down to the core of his being. And that's when he starts by choking out, What happened?
You did it. You made it back. Hey. Yiska turns his palms up, like in that I'm not gonna touch you if you don't want me to, but but he kind of beckons him like back towards him, like to come on his own free will. He says, "Hey, you did it. Come here."
Mattel looks over his shoulder, and you can see it in his eyes. Distress, pain, confusion. But it softens as he registers Yiska, a friend, as close as one can have in a situation like this. And his body does move on its own as he moves a little closer to Yiska. You're okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't quite remember everything, and I'm not sure if it's because I can't or if I don't want to.
Well, if you don't want to, then it's no matter if you can or can't. Just stay in the moment. The moment is here. Fuck your face.
Hmm?
He reaches to get to turn his face. But if he pulls away from Yiska's touch, Yiska doesn't touch. But he is trying to see.
What is on Mato's face is a single tattooed thick black line going through the kind of the center, or well, not the center, like the far left side of his left eye. There's a long, thick line tattooed about 4-5 inches long, just a mark with no explanation.
They tattooed you here. A warrior's mark. You fought him off.
A warrior's mark.
What would you call it? I don't care what they'll call it.
His hand runs over his eye, feels at where they marked him. This isn't the mark of a warrior. This is a branding of some sort. But I wouldn't call this the mark of a warrior.
I said I didn't care what they would call it. Listen to me. You made it back, so you have to tell me what you did, how you did it. You have to tell me how you came back. 'Cause that's what makes it war, Mato. You made it back. So you teach me how you did it, and then next time we both make it back.
I can't teach you what I can't remember. That's the difference. Being a fighter, I have trained to go and fight and protect. I can train my body. I've never had to train against something like that. And I don't even know where to begin to describe it. But it felt like someone invaded me. Not just my mind, not my thoughts. Me. And you kind of see the features on his face start to tremble, shake, as if he's... I wouldn't necessarily break a little bit, but you can maybe see the foundation start to crumble.
Yiska reaches for him again and he says, then tell me who you are, and when they take me, I will try to be as you are. Tell me about home. Come on, tell me about home.
We've done this before, haven't we? I've told you about home. I've told you about the Skanu and how they roam free, and how my big sister threw me off of her back because I had a little crush on a girl, and she said she can't even cook. Come on, what are you doing?
That's a good sister.
Tonka was a good sister, is a good sister, and I'm sure that she is free and telling stories way better than I could ever hope to, because she's always been the storyteller, the keeper. I'm just the muscle.
That's me too, you know. I have a sister who wants to be a writer.
I'd never even thought that your family could read or write, so this is very surprising to me.
I think that's what made us. That's what'll keep us out of their hands. We had sisters. Sisters smarter than us. They taught us something these fucks can't take. I don't know what that is, 'cause I'm not that smart. But it's there.
It's okay. I'm not that smart with you, but as I start to remember things, as I try to remember things, I will tell you everything I know.
We're not gonna make this easy for them.
I don't think I did.
I don't think you did. No.
But this mark, it means something. I don't know what yet. But fuck them.
Yeah, fuck them. You're gonna find a woman one day who, is into it.
I'm just worried about finding one that can cook at this point.
Well, yeah, you wouldn't want to disappoint your sister.
She'll find me. I know she will. And you've already found a catch.
She found me.
What about found each other?
You think I'm that lucky?
No, maybe she's just that unlucky.
I'm afraid that's probably it, considering where we are. I don't know where she is. I wish I could believe she's running wild and free like your sister in the Skano, but she's probably burning a warpath here.
From everything that you told me about her, she definitely sounds like the type to move the stars and mountains just to get back to you. These folks are going to have a mighty lot on their hands when she shows up to their doorstep.
Yeah. They'll think she's only light when they see her coming. She's not just light, she is the sun.
The sun burns hot. And even though it provides warmth and light and guidance to all those, it will also burn you if you incur its wrath.
Well, whether she breathes life into all of my fallow fields or she renders me nothing but sand, I am begging her to create me.
Holy shit, you can read.
So, are y'all gonna kiss, or are we gonna plan?
Probably not, because I'm pretty loyal and men aren't really my cup of tea.
I don't care, Yiska.
Are you ever going to be anything more than just antagonistic? Will you provide yourself useful for once?
He kind of leans back and like runs a hand through his hair. I already did. Shame you were asleep during my whole lesson.
Yeah, he was actually pretty helpful.
How was your nap?
Don't be a dick.
I get the feeling you know exactly how my nap was.
Yeah, and he takes 4 fingers and he kind of draws them over his lines that he has. He's like, yeah, sure do.
Is that how many you've killed?
It was self-defense.
I'm inclined to agree with him on that.
not going to say I didn't enjoy it, though.
So that's what it means.
Yeah, everyone in the entire East will now know that you're a Runai killer. Dangerous. Problem.
A great stallion to be broken.
To a point. There's a point where everyone gives up.
But not you, right?
Oh, no. I don't mean us. I mean them.
Mm.
I mean, what's the point where they decide that it's too risky, that the body count is too high for them to keep risking letting more people try? You know? It's like those wild portals back home. You know, there's one left, one wild portal, no one knows where it goes. It's in the middle of Duretti. And they don't let people just walk in there. You know? Nobody's ever come back. Just like nobody comes back from across the hard line. So where's our hard line? Where's our wild portal? Where does that go? You know, what happens when they decide we're too great a risk? You think they just kill us?
I feel like at some point it just kills us. There's only so much a person can take.
I don't think I don't think that's what happens. You don't die. You don't die unless they kill you in there. No. When you get weak, that's when they go in for a different sort of kill. That's how the tether works. You weaken, they break your walls down bit by bit, step by step, layer by layer, until you have no weapons to fight them with, until your hands are already bound in blood. So you don't die unless they want you to. No, you go in there, and one day you just don't come out. One day they win. But if you don't lose enough times in a row, I reckon they either got to kill you or let you go. By the way, I aim to find out.
But why be snide about it?
Would you rather I be noble?
Yeah, kinda.
At the very least, you could just not be an asshole.
Yeah, what are you practicing for?
Pass.
I, for one, will not be snide.
I'm sure that the Runai trying to take you for everything that you are will appreciate your nobility.
It's not for him to appreciate.
It's about having your own standards.
It's for my wife to appreciate and the sons I will make with her.
Presuming she still wants to fuck somebody who belongs to somebody else.
I won't. But she would. She'd kill him and take me home.
You know, if they take you, part of you will die here.
Then she can take home what's left.
You'll always hear them in your mind. Dead or not. There'll always be some part of them that stays.
Gonna ask you again what the point in rubbing our noses in it is for you. Is it misery loves company?
It's because I've seen enough people with hope and the expectation that everything's just gonna work out fall and fail, and they fall all the harder and all the higher. Where their expectations are, that's the drop. You keep them low and you fight for better, less of a chance of you being broken in mind, body, and spirit. You preserve something for yourself when you keep a bit of yourself nestled in reality.
You think I'm not nestled in reality? You son of a bitch. You think it would be better for me to give up now, kneel before the bars, and wait for them to win?
If I thought that that was better for you, why would I teach you otherwise? And why would I take joy in every single one of those Easterners that I kill inside of my fucking spirit?
I think every time you do it makes you worse. And I'm not telling you not to do it. I'm telling you to keep sight of the man you've probably forgotten about.
Or perhaps this is the man that he's been this whole time.
Or maybe the man that I was is the reason that I got. Isn't it the reason you did?
No.
Really? So it wasn't your impatience. It wasn't your anger. It wasn't your lack of seeing the bigger picture. It wasn't your preparation and knowledge of what might come if you did something fucking stupid. You just did something fucking stupid, right? It wasn't any of that? Nah. Take responsibility. These fuckers suck. Sure, they're terrible. They're awful. Every single one of them should die and create of this land a sand so red it rivals Sabia. But you are the reason you're in here.
I don't see the point in blaming someone for their own captivity.
Because if you take the responsibility for your own captivity, in there lies the power for your own escape.
Or maybe that's what you think.
It's
Maybe.
how I lived this long.
Would
And
you call
every single member of my fucking squad that was taken didn't. You know what that's like, don't you? I remember who was in this cell before Darius got here. And you remember how quickly that went, don't you?
I still refuse to let cynicism take me to derive joy from the suffering of others just because I think I know better.
Well, when the next Runai comes to try and take you, I hope you shed some very noble tears as you slaughter them inside of your soul. You know that's what happened, don't you? Oh, you don't. You don't know a single thing. Either of you.
I know you're a sadist, clinging to joy about the one thing you can still be right about.
It's the one thing I can control. Where else am I going to get joy?
You could shut the fuck up, and that would give me joy.
Iska makes a very good point.
Where's the fun in that? Aren't we all friends in prison?
We are all prisoners. That does not make us all friends.
Oh, well, when you go with your new master and somebody replaces you, I'll make sure I tell them that when they're very, very lonely and crying in the night for their lost wife, who certainly is going to burn down the whole place to get them back, except for it's been how many days since you got
She's
in?
got short legs!
Takalis just sort of raises his hands like, what the fuck? And just stares. But it does shut him the fuck up.
Listen, hope is a fragile thing. A dangerous, fragile thing. Everyone here in this God's forsaken place understands that. And you may think it's self-preservation to hold on to all of the truth of this place, the inevitability of defeat. You may wrap yourself in cynicism, and maybe that works for you. But that is not the way. Not when you're not already a fucking asshole. So listen, Mato, you did great. This is war, and you came back. That makes you a warrior. That makes it a warrior's mark. It is not a brand until they take you fucking home. But you're not there, are you? You're here, and you're gonna be here tomorrow. And so am I. Deal? 'Cause we have sisters.
Then I will make a deal with you. We will see our sisters again.
We will.
They shake hands. As they shake hands, there is a distant clanging sound of a cell door opening, like the door to the cell block, the sliding of stone, footsteps on the ground as the guards approach. And Takalis, who has by this point leaned back, put his hands behind his head, and just sort of like taken a micro nap, opens one eye and is like, hello, boys. As the guards show up and they stand in front of his cage. And he just kind of keeps one eye open, one eye shut, then slowly opens the other and says, "Are we going for a walk?" The guard is just like, "Get up." And he's just like, "Don't gotta tell me twice." He kind of cracks his neck, kind of gets ready, and then stands up. And he gives y'all like kind of a glance, like, "See you on the other side," kind of thing, as he kind of puts his hands up and he lets them put chains on them. They lead him forward. But as they pass by, they stop in front of Yiska's cell. One of them says, "You two, up."
What? No.
First customer.
Go fuck yourself.
They don't bother arguing. One of them just nods to the other, and the door opens. And he points the spear at you. And he's just like, "Your Runai has arrived to select you. Put your hands on the fucking wall, or you will leave in chains so tight that you must be carried."
Yiska. Remember what anchors you here. Remember that you are chosen by no other than her. And you'll come back.
I have a runai. You're gonna need more men.
He kind of squints. He looks back at his superior, who just like nods his head. And there's a movement of stone beneath you as the Runai puts his spear back in like the idle position and holds out a hand. And you find the stone becomes like cuffs around your ankles and roots you to the spot and begins slowly traveling up your leg. The Runai simply looks at you and is like, "Last chance. You gonna come willingly? Or do I have to convince you?"
He spits in his face.
The man kind of just rolls his eyes. Takalis gives like a raucous laughter on the other side. It just starts laughing in his chains. And they kind of like jerk him around, but he doesn't stop laughing. And he's just like, "That's my guy. Look at you." I knew I liked this guy. The man does not find this humorous at all. He kind of squints, slowly wipes the spittle off of his face, and closes his hand in a fist. You find almost like a muzzle of earth form around you, cutting off your air everywhere but from your nostrils. Completely covers your mouth, wraps up around your ears, and then he kind of presses your hands together in like a cross pattern with stone forming the binds instead. And he just kind of stares at you. And he's just like, "I can't wait till they break you. Fucking annoying." He steps forward, grabs you by the back of your shirt, and sort of shoves you forward out of the stone shoes that kind of move with you.
He won't break.
The man turns around and just looks at you. And like, he looks at you with disgust as he takes in the mark. Everyone breaks.
I promise. They will break first before he does.
We'll see. I might take a whack at you myself later, is all he says with like a little bit of a smirk. And then he just shoves Yiska forward. The stone boots kind of do the walking for you.
Yiska still struggles and resists, shouldering people into walls where he can, just being a general nuisance to not make it easy for them.
Every time you struggle, a new strap of earth gets added.
He fully makes them, like, exhaust every effort.
Good. And Takalis, he just sort of saunters along. And as you reach the door, Takalis kind of looks back at Mato and is just like, keep that belief up. Let's see where it gets you. Kind of grins. They pull them both through, and the doors slam shut.